Ash Wednesday begins the season of Lent. This is a season that's given to us. It lasts from Ash Wednesday until kind of Holy Thursday, somewhat Easter Sunday. Depends a little bit on how you decide where the season ends. But regardless, it's a season that's meant to be a penance, of an invitation to follow the Lord into the desert. One of the scripture readings that we have frequently in the first weeks of Lent is that of the temptation of Jesus. He goes out and he prays for 40 days and 40 nights. And scripture doesn't tell us what the heart of this prayer was. It was something that the Spirit drove him to do. But the Church invites all of us each year to join Jesus in opening our hearts to the grace of God, in spending time in prayer, and in fasting, and in almsgiving. These are the three traditional practices for the season of Lent. The first one I want to spend some time with is fasting. The reality is we live in a material world that's full of things, and it has a habit of grabbing onto us. Lent is about going deep within ourselves to look honestly at where are the burdens, where are the things that keep us drawn to this earth, where are the places that we're spending time. We live in a world, for instance, that's filled with electronics, and we have news, and we have games, and we have cell phones, and the average person spends many hours a day engaging with those devices. Lent is a time to work at letting go of some of that. That's part of the heart of fasting. You may have heard it said that Lent is a season where you give something up. That's what it was when I was a kid. We gave something up for the season of Lent, but usually I didn't think very much about it. It was like, oh yeah, I give something up. What's the point? What's the purpose? The purpose is to clear out some of this clutter so that there is room for God in your life. The reality is that Lent isn't just about giving something up for the sake of doing it, but because our desires aren't always good. The material world isn't always good for us. And that's true even of good desires. We can store up treasure here on earth, or we can store up treasure for the kingdom of heaven. But it seems like we can't do both. That we have to choose one or the other. That's the heart of what fasting is. Some of the traditions of fasting from meat on Fridays and some of the other things like that are things that you're invited to do as a part of the people of God. There's other ones that you can choose, and some of this can be unique. It's a great place to get creative. An electronic fast day once a week is a good place to start. Writing letters to friends or to neighbors or greeting the people on your block, those kind of things are great. They can all be part of fasting. The most important part of fasting is turning against your self-will, of finding a way to deny yourself, to deny your pride. Sometimes it can be things that are a bit uncomfortable, or maybe even painful, but we're meant to see them as an opportunity to be stretched for the glory of God, to be stretched for the kingdom of heaven. The second of the traditional Lenten practices is almsgiving. Almsgiving is maybe the most familiar and the most self-explanatory, in the sense that there are lots of organizations that ask for donations that we're asked to be a part of. And there's great ones. We have our own parish, which is a great place to give alms. We have the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which does a great job taking care of the poor. There's other places in the city of Fargo that are worthy of our time and attention as well. And almsgiving can be those things. It can also be about giving time, volunteering, doing things like that. Those are ways of serving the poor. Almsgiving is about helping us live in right relationship with money. Money is a tough thing. It's not that the rich can't go to the kingdom of heaven, but Jesus says it's hard. We have to wrestle with that. And we live in the wealthiest culture, the wealthiest nation on earth, by far, and the wealthiest nation that has ever existed. And so almsgiving helps us kind of press a reset button. It's not that we need to give away everything we have, but simply that our relationship with money isn't always in the right spot. And it's a good time during the season of Lent to press the reset button, to look at where expenses are. It's amazing how quickly things add up. You can spend a little bit of money at places like coffee shops now, Or you can spend a lot. I happen to like the kind of crazy drinks that end up costing now like $7 or $8 a piece, and I feel like I'm giving away a pound of flesh for it. But there's still times where I choose it. And at the same time, when it comes to making a donation, that $20 donation or $30 donation is a lot harder. It's not the same kind of ease that I have when I'm spending money on myself. That's exactly the kind of relationship with money that we're meant to look at in the season of Lent. That's what almsgiving is about. The last one is prayer. This is the heart of the season of Lent. That prayer is about this living encounter with God. We're meant to see this time as an invitation to retreat, to open our hearts to be with Him. Lots of people do this through coming to things like Stations of the Cross, or they take up Adoration. They spend extra time praying at home. Maybe you follow a daily devotional. That's something I'm going to try this year. Devotionals kind of drive me crazy when they're every day. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a stretch. There's other ways. You can read the scriptures every day, like a chapter from the Bible. You can read through one of the Gospels. You could say a rosary. You could make a prayer wall. There's a ton of different encounters that you can have in regard to prayer. This is a great invitation. Lent is meant to be a little bit like a desert, kind of hot and sunny, but a place that's filled with the glory and the love of God. It's a place where some things are lacking and some things aren't so easy, but it's also a place where we're invited to find Him, where He's waiting to find us. During these days of this season, I would invite you to open your heart to the love of God. There's a bunch of ideas in a document that'll be linked below this video if you want to look at it. If you're still wondering about what to do for the season of Lent, it's never too late to start. Lent is a season of penance that helps us reset our relationship with the world, that invites us to be with the Lord, to open our hearts to His love, to look at our relationship with money, to find some time and some space to turn toward Him. These are all good things, and it's all in preparation for the celebration of Easter, the death and resurrection of the Lord, and renewing our baptismal promises, where we pledge to live in covenant with Him. May God bless you in this holy season.